Hi everyone, welcome to today's Adobe Creative Collab. I'm joined today by the super creative and talented digital artist, Eva Papamargariti. How are you doing today, Eva?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
It's my pleasure to be here with you today.
Thank you for joining us, fantastic. So over the next hour, we've set a creative challenge for Eva. Eva's going to be creating an original artwork for us using Photoshop and After Effects, and she's also going to be using assets from Adobe Stock. She'll be basing her artwork around one of our 2019 visual trends called natural instincts, which we'll talk more about later. So along the way, Eva will be sharing insights about her work. We've got the chat feature open today, so if you are watching us live, please do feel free to ask Eva anything you'd like to know about her creative process. So Eva, do you want to start off by telling us a little bit about yourself and your practice?
Sure. I studied architecture and then I did an MA course on visual communication design at the Royal College of Art here in London, where I'm based the last 5 years. I use mainly digital tools in order to create time-based work like videos, animations, but not only that. I also create prints on textiles and different surfaces, as well as smaller sculptural installations.
Fantastic. So we've got an example of your work behind us now today, which is really, I can see it is based on kind of natural trends, natural themes.
Exactly.
Yeah. How does that inspire your work, do you think?
I think it's the relationship between human technology and nature is something very important to my practice, and the work that I've been doing the last 4 or 5 years has been revolving around these issues. The one that we can see on the background right now is is a quite elaborate image that I created. It was a print on a waterproof textile, and it was part of a bigger installation that I created at the New Museum in New York 3 years ago. So basically, I think the theme of the issue of coexistence between those three subjects, human, technology, and nature, is something that drives my practice, and I think it's very crucial at this time.
Absolutely. So how did you start to think about this when you were thinking about creating the work that you're going to show us how you did today?
So for this one, I had the idea that I want to create something that can be seen from both sides or perspectives. One is the side which lies more on the sci-fi area and a bit more obscure and dark aesthetics and concepts. And on the other hand, I'd like to contradict that element and create something that is vibrant and full of life and energy, something that nature itself.
Fantastic. I can't wait to see how you're going to pull this together for us today. So we've got a surprise in store for us today with the nature and the natural and the light and the dark.
Definitely.
It's great.
Shall we start?
Yeah, let's go for it.
So, first of all, Adobe Stock is one of the really important sources for creative people out there, I think.
Absolutely, yeah.
I started my research by searching images of dark sea, basically, which is my main background.
Great.
Yes, we can see how the theme is explored through the Adobe Stock. And one important thing for all of my images is that in order to be able to edit them, I always use mainly the isolated only asset.
So you want to see something against a clear background?
Yes, exactly. Absolutely. So I can key the background out, and then I can combine the elements. So I have 3 images that I'm going to use as my main background, and then I'm going to import this environment on After Effects and start
Okay.
building through various video assets my composition.
That's amazing.
So we have this image of a bit wavy and dark sea. I'm going to clear the background and combine it with this foggy asset. So I will start by using the erase tool.
Okay.
Yes, let me clear it. I'm putting this layer on top
Yeah.
in order to gain a perspective of the symmetry of the two assets.
Yeah. Have you got them on separate layers, or you're just merging them at the moment?
I'm having them on separate layers, and I want to still be able to control the two images separately. So again, using the eraser tool, I'm going to smooth the top layer, the foggy part.
Yeah.
So smoothly, I'm starting to erase the hard boundary.
Yeah. Yeah.
In order to make it look more like natural,
Yeah.
and that it's
So they're merging together.
exactly.
Yeah. Great.
I think in order to achieve a better result, we need to put the opacity and the flow on lower levels,
Yeah.
and that in that way we can have better control of what we're creating.
Yeah.
At least that's something that helps
when
my
you're doing it.
my mode of
Great.
working.
Wow, look at that. So that's brilliant how that's just so easily merged together now, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
It's great.
I mean, we already have a different composition. We start seeing a different
Yeah.
composition.
That's just two images from Adobe Stock.
Exactly, and I really like the fact that you can find them in different variations. You
Yeah.
can find different variations of fog or smoke.
Have you tried working with the three? I know that some of your work does include sort of three-dimensional
Yes.
objects. Have you tried working with those from Adobe Stock?
Yes, definitely. I have created specific artworks fully with
Fantastic.
these assets.
That's great.
And
And that's
the-
another session, I think, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And this library, I think the 3D library of Adobe Stock
Yeah.
keeps evolving in really interesting
Yeah.
ways.
And we've got a lot more textures and materials coming soon. So, and on there at the moment, that collection's
great.
growing bigger and bigger. So,
So
the 3D artists, it's something to watch.
yeah, definitely, and it helps a lot because you can embed them directly to softwares like After Effects,
Yeah,
even or
yeah.
Photoshop.
Absolutely. So this is your third image from Adobe Stock.
Yes, my third image is these black liquidish balls that I will use the quick selection tool in order to
Yeah.
just capture one. It's very easy. I'm just clicking on it, and because of the
Great.
contrast of the colors, it gets captured right away.
Absolutely.
I will use the Shift, Control, and I command in order to select the rest of the image, basically because I just want this aspect.
Fantastic. So
To
you've
be
just,
kept.
just taken out that
Yes.
one piece you want to keep.
So with Shift, Control, A for the Windows users, Shift,
Yeah.
Command, I for the Mac users.
Yeah.
And now I want this element to be integrated on my main composition. I want this like black liquid oily blobs to be floating in the middle of the sea. So I'm just gonna take this one, and again with the eraser tool, I'm just gonna with the brackets at the keyboard, with the brackets key, we can control the size of the brush.
Yeah.
So
great.
again, I'm going to start erasing the hard limit of the bottom of my black liquid element. And another key element here, in order to make it look more realistic, is that I want to take a bit of the sea texture and put it on top of my
brilliant.
of my
so it
ball.
looks like it's submerged.
Exactly. So I'm going to use the clone stub tool.
Yeah.
I'm pressing the S on my keyboard, and I'm taking by Alt, clicking and pressing the Alt button. I'm taking a bit of the sea texture and I'm putting it on my layer, again with gentle gestures. So immediately we see that it starts submerging on my water.
Yeah, so very quickly and easily you've managed to put those three pieces together.
And now I'm going to copy this element just by pressing Alt, click Alt and drag the element to the other side. I'm going to make it a bit smaller.
Two of them straight away.
Yes. And now because I want these two elements, my cloud and the sea, to become a bit more unified in terms of color, I will start fading a bit the background, which is a more harsh element on my composition.
Yeah.
So again, I will use the eraser tool, but I will make the opacity quite low. And I will start fading some of the
Great, so it's not quite so bright.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And by pressing Ctrl and U, I will make that a bit darker, just by lowering the lightness.
Yeah. You've got quite this kind of dark scene emerging here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, great.
So I think we almost have our main image ready.
You've got your background.
Yes, exactly.
Sort of everything.
I'm going to lower the lightness on my sea layer as well a bit. And desaturate it slightly because the background is quite desaturated.
Yeah.
So that will be my main image.
Great.
I'm saving it.
And how did you come up with the idea of, where do you get your ideas when you're creating these kind of digital artworks?
Well, the ideas can be found literally anywhere. I like to observe, and I think my architecture studies help me on doing
absolutely.
that. So I observe intensely my surroundings, especially when I am around natural elements. I hear the ambience of the sound, and I'm really observative of the textures and the feelings that they can impose on me. So I guess that's something that happens intuitively on my practice. I'm going to save it on the desktop.
Great.
Okay.
So that was the first step, was to create your background layer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now we're going basically on After Effects. And I'm going to get my image.
Yeah.
We drag and drop it on our project space.
Yeah.
So this will become our main layer. The image is a bit...
just to resize.
We need to resize it. So we just press Shift and left click. So we...
Great.
We made it fit on our image.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to use some of the Adobe Video Stock assets.
Okay.
And again, as we saw before, I did the same thing with the images.
Yeah.
I started searching keywords like flowers, glooming, for example.
Yeah.
Which is the vibrant aspect of my composition. I want to create a composition where some natural elements are growing out of these black liquid balls that are moving.
The difference between the beautiful light flowers and the dark background.
Growing. Let's see. So there are many options here. We can see on different speeds and colors and backgrounds.
And what attracted you to choose the images that you did? Were you looking for anything in particular, or was
Yes,
it
I
just
think
being inspired
it
by what
was
was there?
a combination of the colors and again the different kind of speeds that the videos and the elements inside the videos had.
Great.
So as you can see on my project, I have different videos selected already. So the element that I'm going to put on my on the center of my composition is a thick liquid black ball that is moving and changing.
Fantastic.
And this is
very sci-fi already.
Yeah, and this is going to be emerging from the sea.
In the depths.
We want to erase the background, so we're going on the Effects and Presets tab. And we're going to use the linear color key command.
Is this something that you like to use when you're working?
Yes, I use it quite often and it helps me a lot, I think. I think.
Great.
We have many options to change the opacity. We want it to be quite visible, and I think that's a very nice and smooth effect. And we're going to scale our object down in order to fit better in our composition. I think something like that. And I'm going to position it on the lower bottom of the composition.
It's starting to come together, isn't it?
Yes. What I'm going to use now is something that we will see during the rest of the process, and it's a tool that might scare many people, but it's quite easy to use and fast. And I'm going to show you how.
Fantastic. So you can talk us through how you use that in your work today.
Yes, exactly. Great. It's a similar thing. It's a similar command that we used before in Photoshop, but now we're going to mask the lower bottom of our object.
Yeah.
In order to make it look more realistic and that it
like it's
emerges.
sinking in.
Exactly,
absolutely.
Yes. So I'm going to press the G button, and we have the pen tool selected immediately, and I'm just going to start masking my object in a quite random way.
Yeah.
And the important thing now is that we can see in our layer that there is a mask created already. We need, of course, to hide that part, so we're going to select the inverted option. And then we will go on the feather option, and we will put the feather option around 30 pixels, and we will expand the mask a bit. So it starts fading. Already we can see that it starts fading.
Yeah, absolutely. It's sort of merged in now.
Yeah. We can play a bit with the limits and the boundaries of the mask.
I can see that. It looks really good.
Yes. So this is the main element, and we can that's the. We don't need that part basically, so we're going to start. We just drag the bar, so it starts basically where our work is hidden.
We've got a question, Eva, actually.
Yes.
Somebody wants to know where you find your inspiration, or how you find your inspiration.
Yes.
We talked a little bit about sounds and textures, didn't we? But if there's anything else you can elaborate on that.
It depends on my mood, and it depends on what I'm reading or what I might be, the music that I might be listening. Lately I have been reading a sci-fi book, and I guess that creates many images on my head, and the book is about an island and how a person gets isolated on this island without any contact with any other human being. So he's starting to observe everything around him, on his environment, basically.
Slightly like this dystopian theme we've got going on here actually today. Brilliant.
It's a bit like a Philip K. Dick
fantastic
dystopia. So
And you do use, I've seen a lot of your video work uses a lot of music in as well, doesn't it?
I
So-
create the sound as well.
Yeah.
So that's why I mentioned before that it's very important for me to be able to grasp the sounds and the
Yeah.
ambience of the environment that I'm
Yeah,
situated into.
yeah. So you can bring them into your video pieces.
Yeah, exactly. So we have our liquid blob. By pressing the spacebar, we can already see it
Yeah,
vibrating. And then to make it more dynamic, I'm going to add another layer,
okay.
which is this video asset that somehow creates like a nice hug around the object.
Yeah,
So it gives a bit of a more
sense.
dynamic feeling.
yeah.
Again, we're going to use the linear color key, and we're going to take the white color out.
Wow, so just a few stock assets and already you've built something quite complex.
Yes, exactly. And that's the important thing, I think, with using the video assets for the creative people and the designers, is that you can create a new composition just in a few
quite
minutes,
simply.
quite simply.
Absolutely, it's great.
We're going to change the lightness again on this one. So we are setting for the hue and saturation command on our color correction.
Yeah,
And we are putting the hue a bit towards the green colors, the greener colors, and then we will make it a bit darker as well.
so this is quite a sort of dark backdrop that you've got for all the
Yes,
bright
exactly.
flowers that will be blooming.
So we see the liquid starts
Yeah.
revolving around our moving, vibrating mass, and it creates a more dynamic effect. We can pull it a bit lower.
Yeah, just to position it around it.
Exactly. So we already have something very dynamic in terms of motion. And then I have some assets that, as I said before, are themed around the growing of flowers, the creation of a small ecosystem that emerges from the dark liquid
Yeah,
that is vibrating in the middle of the sea. I will start by using some of those assets. We have this flower that is just blooming very beautifully.
that's lovely. And how do you go about incorporating that into your piece?
Excuse me?
How do you go about putting that into your piece and deciding where it goes and
Yes, I
things
think
like
then
that?
it's totally up to the creator and
Yeah.
the user, and how where you find the harmony inside the composition.
Yeah,
Basically,
yeah,
we're going to scale it down from the transform toolbar. I think that's nice, and we're going to rotate it as well.
So you've got a great contrast there with the dark
Yes,
background now,
exactly.
haven't you? Excellent.
I'm going to scale it a bit more and rotate it a bit more as well.
Wow, so we've done this all in about sort of 20 minutes, I think. This is all coming together quite amazingly, isn't it?
And again, I'm going to use again the mask command, the mask action, because we want all of our elements to be coming smoothly out of the dark liquid. Again, we are selecting the inverted option, and we are masking, we are feathering our mask.
So this is a great lesson for people who want to understand how to create these sort of sculptural
Yes,
compositions.
I think that's a nice and easy way to just put objects and overlay
Start to build them together.
Yeah, exactly.
That's great.
Okay, so we have already our first flower on our composition. I'm going to do one more flower, and then I'm going to show you another surprise element.
Flower, isn't it? It's beautiful.
Yes, there are many, many beautiful elements on the Adobe Stock. And they're quite easy to just clear the background. You can just clear the background out with this command, which is quite easy to control. And again, we're going to scale that by pressing the Shift key and left click on our mouse. I think I'm going to put that somewhere here. Again, it's a matter of...
It's kind of how you feel when you're creating.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Of the mood of the creator.
Yeah.
I'm going to rotate it a bit as well.
Oh, I love this. It's really coming together, isn't it?
Slowly but steadily.
Yeah, that's great.
And the same command, which is very important, masking our object in order to make it look more realistic. Select the inverted option.
Well, that's really coming together now. It's fantastic.
Expansion. Of course, we can use different commands on our objects. We can, for example, if we want to change the color of our flower, we can easily go to the hue and saturation, color correction.
Make it any color you want.
And basically, you can we can easily create something way more intense or.
Do you prefer to keep it more natural, do you think, when you're working with something contrast?
Sometimes I play a lot with the curves function or the levels function. In terms of, if I want to create something more vibrant or something with more contrast.
Yeah.
But usually I don't, I like to keep things natural in their own way, of course.
Yeah. And there's a lot of texture to your work, I can see, coming through now.
So if we just start previewing our composition, we see that the flowers are starting to grow slowly. Sorry about that, it's a bit
that's
heavy.
Okay, it's a little bit slow internet maybe. Slow here.
Yes. So the next element I'm going to add is something that will somehow break the symmetry in a way of my main composition.
Quite symmetrical at the moment, isn't it?
Yes. And I want something to break that. And it's going to be a branch. I'm going to put a branch where a parrot is going to to land
to see this.
At some point.
Parrot landing on the branch.
So as you see, the main actions and commands that I'm using are quite simple.
Yeah.
Basically, I revolve around three actions. It's the linear color key where I'm keying the background of each object.
Yeah.
After that, I'm using the mask tool and then some simple color correction changes.
Yeah, so it's fantastic how quickly you can build up your layers.
Yes, definitely.
With all the different images and put them together in a composition.
So we have this branch, and we want to rotate it in order to just break this symmetry and to have like a diagonal element. it's still too big, so we are scaling down.
Yeah.
But then still it depends on each person's composition.
It's looking good. Like a kind of ivy escaping or something almost.
Yes. Again, using the mask tool, we are erasing the bottom of our object.
Yeah.
Making it a bit smoother. So now, I have a video of this very beautiful parrot that
Wonderful.
I want to use. So it's this parrot that is flying around,
Looks fantastic.
and
So
then
we're going to introduce him into the composition.
exactly
Wow.
to give another moving element on the corner, because now my
How did you choose a parrot?
I think I really like.
colours.
Yes, apart from the colors, I
Yeah.
think I really like this the gestures and the motion of the wings, because
Yeah.
he's just revolving around himself. Itself, it's
Lovely.
like, I felt
The
that.
movement that you sort of were attracted to.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's like he's a bit bored, and then he tries to escape, but then he cannot escape. It's like this ball is a
Yeah.
magnet that
Pulling him back.
exactly is pulling him back.
Great.
Again, I'm using the color key to clear the parrot out. So look how easy
So simple,
so
really,
simple,
isn't it?
exactly.
Yeah, to bring your assets
And
together.
we have
Yeah.
one more element right away. So I want this layer to go beneath the layer of the branch.
Yeah.
And I'm going to rotate my layer a bit as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's
Get the right
good.
perch on the branch.
Yes, exactly. And I'm going to put it right here.
That's very good. He's looking happy there, I think. Isn't he? Happy parrot.
So we can preview the motion of the parrot a bit. And I like the fact that he disappears out of the
Flies away.
Yeah, flies away out of the composition, and then
Comes back again.
Exactly, he's coming back again.
Fantastic.
So mainly the work rhythm goes like that. We keep creating. We can add objects. We can add different kinds of natural elements or
How many objects do you
animals.
tend to sort of overlay when you're working in this type of way? Many, or
it
just a
depends.
few,
It can
or-
become a really chaotic composition. For example, on the image that we saw in the beginning of our session, it was a really elaborate effort, because it combined I combined different techniques. I even captured my skin with a micro camera, and then I
Wow.
put the texture
And
on
lots of
Adobe
textures
Photoshop.
and-
Exactly.
Yeah,
I created some textures from scratch on digital softwares, and then so it was a combination of
That's fantastic.
actions and techniques. But it really depends on the project, I guess.
Yeah.
Sometimes one or two elements can become something very important and striking. But I think that my work is a bit chaotic on itself. It's
You like the way that lots of different things
it's part
come
of my
together.
process.
And,
Yes, I'm like overlaying
Yeah.
different meanings and elements.
That's great.
So I will add another animal feature on my composition right now.
It's brilliant. I think we've got about 15 minutes,
15
Eva,
minutes.
just for
Okay,
keeping
yeah,
working.
That's good.
Just to let you know, because we started a little late today, so
Don't worry, we're gonna be on time.
that's great.
So I would like to place these.
2 lovebirds or something?
Yes, there's a couple of lovebirds here. I will put them in combination with my pink flower.
Your rose, yeah,
Yes.
lovely.
I'm going to scale it down a bit as well. And pressing the G key one more time. I think that doesn't need much of masking here, but still I'm going to add it a bit. Again, we select the inverted option and feather the limits of our object slightly.
Lovely.
Yes. Positioning.
A little bit of softening there.
Yeah.
Lovely.
And I'm going to add one last element.
Okay.
It's another plant, but it's more like it's very close, and then suddenly it starts
Kind of
blooming.
like this light coming from inside it as well.
Yes.
Great.
Scaling it down.
So do you work with a multitude of textures, colours, combinations?
Yes, usually I think that my work is quite characteristic for that aspect, that it combines many elements that at first sight might be not very harmonious with each other, but then it all comes together at some certain point, and you can perceive the work as one whole object that you can somehow view it from different perspectives.
Fantastic. And we talked about the visual theme, natural instincts. So is that something you would say sort of inspires you as well in terms of putting your compositions together?
Yes, definitely, because nature is very diverse on its own.
That's true, yeah,
From
absolutely.
the beginning of when you see something being created in nature and how it grows and how it dies, then I guess you see many levels and many phases of one object, but
one thing.
It keeps changing, and that's the very interesting thing with nature. It keeps shifting.
That's interesting, isn't it? So you can take a lot of inspiration from that.
Yes, exactly. I'm going to use the flip horizontal tool. I'm right-clicking on my layer, going on transform, flip horizontal, and I'm
just to reposition a bit.
Exactly. I'm repositioning it a bit, scaling it. Control Z for that.
It's looking really well balanced now, isn't it? All the different elements coming together.
I'm gonna scale it a bit more.
That's great.
So if we just move forward, we can already see that we have different elements growing out of the composition. And we can make our black liquid ball slightly slower, because now it moves a bit fast. So I'm going to make it a bit. I'm time stretching
Slow it down a little bit.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So we can already see how the image is.
Fantastic. I love it. I love how you've put all those different elements together, and I love the parrot flying in.
It's becoming alive, basically.
Yeah. It's a real natural digiscape, isn't it, of all these created elements.
It's like an ecosystem on its birth.
Yeah. So you've effectively just done that for us in very short amount of time, using images from Adobe Stock. So it's so nice to see how you've layered everything together and
definitely,
use your creative eye to sort of put everything in the right space to create this artwork for us.
Yes, it helped a lot that the video elements gave all this motion to the composition, and we can check the
Should we see the final piece,
yes,
the rendered out version here? Obviously, we won't render it out today. It's too long,
it's a bit.
You've got one you prepared earlier, which is great for us to see. Fantastic.
It will open.
Let's try if it opens, hopefully.
Yes.
Wonderful. I love that. It's fantastic. Well done, Eva. That's absolutely beautiful, isn't it? So a few elements from Adobe Stock, artfully put together by the talented and creative Eva, of course, has given this artwork some amazing kind of depth. I love it. It's fantastic. It's very beautiful. So to all of our viewers out there, I think we've seen Eva create some really fantastic work today, which is brilliant. Eva's got an exhibition she's working on at the moment, so I think if you take a look, I don't know, are you on Vimeo, Eva? Or
Exactly. Vimeo, or the social media, you're gonna find more about
We're going to find more of Eva's work out there. So I think to all the viewers, check out Eva's work because it's really something beautiful, and we're really lucky to have her in here today creating this beautiful artwork for us. So thank you very much for coming and joining us today.
Thank you very much for having me. It was a great pleasure.
That's great. That's great. And I love this. This is absolutely beautiful. So we'll finish up now. We'll wrap up now. And just to say thank you all for watching us. It's been a really great session today. And do join us next week for next week's Adobe Creative Collab Live.